We are coming to you from the city beautiful Chicago, Illinois, where this afternoon WGN Sports presents White Sox baseball. It's Paul Konerko, Alex Rios, Chris Sale and the Sox as they get set to butt heads with Michael Morse and the revamped Seattle Mariners. Hi, everybody, and welcome. With Steve Stone, I'm Ken Harrelson. We get set to bring you the finale of this three-game set, and it will be the rubber match. Mariners took the opener 8-7 in 10 innings. Sox kept coming back in that ball game, couldn't quite get there. Then yesterday, Dylan Axelrod was just outstanding, along with Connor Gillespie and also Alex Rios with that big two-run homer. Sox won that ball game 4-3. So this afternoon, making his second start of the season, Chris Sale.
Chris Sale looked brilliant the first time out. He just handcuffed Kansas City, a good offensive team. And he went into the eighth inning. He walked one, he fanned seven, throwing brilliantly. Straight changes, some exceptional breaking stuff, and that was against Seattle last year. He's 2-0 lifetime against these Mariners. And you see the numbers from the first time out. Sale was just brilliant.
And the bullpen has been great as well, especially Addison Reed, who has all three saves.
Addison Reed has been a revelation. I talked with Eric Wedge before the game, and he said after three straight sliders to Jesus Montero to end the game, he goes, that young man looks like he's learned a little something about pitching. Last year, he saved 29 ball games. This year, he's on the way to saving a whole lot more. Addison Reed, at the man at the end, has been a revelation for this team. He's 3 for 3, and we've won the 3 games.
All right, sit back, relax, and strap it down because White Sox baseball coming your way.
It's fun. I think Harold's obviously the most comfortable in it, but I think guys like it.
There's a look at the uniforms from 1983. I talked with Chris Sale before the game. As a starting pitcher, he has to feel comfortable. He said he loves these uniforms. He said they're simple, they look good, they feel good, and he said that he would hope they would be used quite a bit. Of course, they are going to be used quite a bit this year as we commemorate the 1983 team. And Hawk, that year had to be especially exciting for you.
Oh, yeah. Don Drysdale and I were just ecstatic because we had come here the year before in '82. And then to see that ball club start off 14-26 and wind up winning 99 games and winning the division by 20. And playing Baltimore, unfortunately, lost in that fourth game, because if it went to 5, we had Lamar Hart going. And I know we felt that way, and Baltimore felt that it was all over then.
Well, I was a reporter during that series for WGN. Although I didn't know much of what I was doing, I did know I was seeing something special in the playoffs. They were two very good teams going head-to-head, and, of course, that year Baltimore went on to win the World Series. I have a feeling, had the Sox not run into Tito Landrum with that home run to left center field, I think they would have gone on to dominate Philadelphia and win that World Series. They were that good a team, and their pitching staff was overwhelming.
Well, you're right. There were two very good ball clubs. But right here, they're meeting at home plate. We'll be back.
Most live sports. Today's game is available in Spanish on your SAP audio setting, provided by 97.5 FM ESPN Deportes, Chicago's first and only FM Spanish language sports radio station. It's a beautiful day for baseball, 51 degrees at the ballpark, not a cloud in the sky. The wind, although blowing fairly briskly, nowhere near the effect of what it was yesterday when we had wind gusts of up to 40 miles an hour. So for Chris Sale going to the mound today with a perfect 2-0 record against these Seattle Mariners and 1-0 this year, he should feel pretty comfortable out there. Easy day to get loose. And he's got a ball club that feels pretty good about what happened yesterday in defeating King Felix. So as the White Sox take the field, let's see how Eric Wedge is going to line up his Seattle Mariners. Franklin Gutierrez starting in center field, and it's Jason Bay in left. Kendrys Morales is the DH today with Michael Morse in right field. Jesus Montero behind the plate. Justin Smoke at first. Kyle Seager at third. Robert Endino, the former Oriole, is at second. And Brendan Ryan is at shortstop. Our Toyota White Sox defense and how they'll line up behind Chris Sale. Dan Viciedo in left. Alejandro Diaz in center with Alex Rios in right. Connor Gillespie, after his heroics yesterday, getting a start at third base. And Alexei Ramirez at short. Gordon Beckham at second. Adam Dunn is at first base. Tyler Flowers gets a nod behind the plate. And Chris Sale on the hill. Sale walked one, fanned 7, going into the 8th inning last time against a very tough Kansas City team, giving up no runs on just 7 hits. He had a good straight change. He throws 2 speeds of sharp breaking slider. And he just completely handcuffed the Royals. The umpires for the game today. Kerwin Danley behind the plate. Lance Barksdale is at first. Vic Carapazzi is at second. And Jeff Nelson is at third. It's been a very good umpired series. In fact, a very good umpired homestand. These two crews have done a terrific job. And you know that because players haven't argued very much about anything. Good-looking uniforms, especially good on Chris Sale, and he'll like it a whole lot more if he whips up a gem here today. So Tyler Flowers throwing the ball down to second base. We're ready to play baseball. I'm ready to turn it over to my play-by-play partner, Ken Harrelson.
All right, Stone Pony, thank you very much. And once again, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to White Sox baseball right here on WGN Sports. So happy you could join us for the finale of this 3-game set, the rubber match it is, and also the finale of this brief 6-game homestand. Franklin Gutierrez gets ready to lead it off against our 24-year-old southpaw. Mariners come in at 3-3, but this is a much better Seattle club we're looking at right now than we've seen in the last 4 or 5 years.
Well, offensively, they've certainly done a great job of shoring up what was the weakest part of their ball club.
And they catch the ball very well.
Yes, they do.
First pitch is fastball outside. Gutierrez comes in hitting at 389. A couple of homers, 6 RBIs, 3 for 5 with a homer and 3 RBIs in this series.
He did pick up a pinch hit at bat in the 9th inning last night, but Addison Reed struck him out.
There's a good fastball strike. Crisp. That one at 93, and here at the ballpark, 330 down the left field line, 335 down the right field line, 375 in the gaps, and 400 straight away center. Change up.
This is a high sky, no clouds. Did it affect the outfielders at all?
Fouls that back. You know, one of the funny things about these uniforms, in 1983, when they first brought them out, players did not like them. Thought they looked like softball uniforms. And then as the season wore on, they loved them. And now, this is probably the most favored uniform of fans, certainly who saw them back in 1983.
Well, from a marketing standpoint, they're selling like hotcakes.
He gone. Yes. Yeah, when you win 99 games, you're probably going to wind up loving them.
You're going to enjoy the year. I talked about the sky before and the fact there are no clouds, Hawk. And for the outfielders who are used to some overcast conditions here, will today pose any problems to them?
For some guys, it can. Most guys, it doesn't. But, you know, I think there's also an element of where it is, the high sky, so to speak. High sky in Arizona is really tough for everybody.
Yep.
High sky in Oakland is probably the toughest in the American League. Here, it's not good, but it's not as tough as those places I just mentioned. And there's no defining thing on how deep it is.
No.
So, I mean, you know,
sure.
what
goes
could
way
be
up.
the reason? I don't know what the depth perception element would be. Here's Jason Bay, 34-year-old veteran. He did not go.
Looked to me like he was trying to pull just about everything when we've seen him in this series. He's trying to establish the fact that he still has something left. He's been around. He's been somewhat injured. And the Mets are paying almost his entire salary this year.
3-1 to count. Well, that double that he hit in game 1 was very impressive because of the top hand he showed us. And there's ball 4. Yeah, most aging players get to the point that as they get older, they lose the ability to turn around that good fastball.
Are they going to have to try to cheat a little bit, get it started, and so consequently now you're susceptible to the off-speed pitch and you're pulling most everything?
They look more for it and they cheat more for it. But when you've got a good top hand, you can still catch up to a good fastball, and he showed us that in game 1. So here is Kendrys Morales, switch hitting, DH.
Kendrys is probably a better hitter from the left side. And from the right side, he loses a couple of steps to first, so get him to hit the ball on the ground, and it will be 2.
Change up. 1-1 to count. Mariners hitting at .224 as a club with 7 home runs. And they did bring in the fences at Safeco. Pretty good breaking ball, didn't get it.
take a look at it on the pitch tracks. You could make an argument for that being a strike.
Well, if you're not going to get that breaking ball for a strike, you're going to have to use more fastballs, and that's going to make it a little easier on the hitters.
I think sometimes what happens is the catcher just has to, in facing forward, has to tell Kerwin Danley, look, stay with the breaking ball because it doesn't matter where I catch it. It breaks so much, it's going to come over the plate to strike. Just remind him of that, and he'll probably give you the call.
Good swing by Morales. Well, that's getting to be a lost art now because you don't have the familiarity, the relationship with umpires that you had 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago.
That's true. You just don't see him as much. But a good catcher psychologically, where he's not, throwing the ball back angrily or yelling at the umpire or turning his head a lot to the umpire, that catcher might get his pitcher a couple of pitches a game.
Well, I think the difference in the relationship is in ages ago, in years past, the umpire would say thanks. You'd thank the catcher for telling him, hey, this guy, you hadn't seen him much. He's got a real good curveball. He's got a real good slider. And the umpire would say thank you. Today, some of these umpires will take that in a negative fashion. The 2-2. He gone. 2 down.
That was a good slider, probably a little higher than Chris would have wanted it, but it breaks so sharply. It's very difficult for the hitter to square it up. This ball is outside for most of its path and then snaps toward the outer third of the plate. Morales, the second strikeout victim.
So here's Michael Morse hitting at .333. He has 4 of the 7 Mariner home runs. He had 4 in the first 4 games. He is a big addition to this ball club. Takes that strike, and with them bringing, how much did they bring in the fences in left center?
17 feet.
Wow.
They also took the scoreboard out, so they lowered the fence to 8 feet uniformly all the way across. But 17 feet in left center is a big number for guys like Michael Morse.
Well, he's going to hit fly balls out of there now, when before he had to get most of it. Now he doesn't have to because as strong as he is.
Well, the same thing with Smoke when he hits from the right side, although he's not near as effective right-handed. But certainly Gutierrez, Bay, Morales when he hits from the right side. All these guys are going to benefit. And this team averaged 3.2 runs at home per game. That's woeful.
The breaking ball hangs outside. Tried to backdoor him. Former White Sox farmhand. Change up.
Seattle really caught a break that Washington is as talented as they are because they just ran out of places for Morse. He was a good hitter with him. I remember talking with General Manager Mike Rizzo, and he said he really liked this guy and what he gave to his ball club, but didn't have a place for him. So it cost him John Jaso, which is a pretty good deal for Seattle.
I know Seattle's glad to have him.
I think one of those sweeping, sharp breaking sliders here over the left-handed batter's box on the corner outside will retire Mr. Morse.
It is 2-0 Seattle.
That went a little too much of the plate, as that is home run number 5. Morse now has driven in 8 runs. That's 5 home runs. In this, the 7th game Seattle has played, and that was a bomb. Chris got that one up too high, and it had way too much of the plate. And Morse just unloads.
That'll bring up Jesus Montero, 23-year-old catcher, hitting at .222. As there's a fastball strike. Yeah, Morris is liable to have a monster year. One of the keys, though, would be Jason Bay. If he can play well enough to be in that lineup, stay healthy.
Especially against the left-handers, because we've seen Michael Saunders is a good solid outfielder wherever you put him. But against the left-handers, they'd rather play Bay.
There's a Matabatacola. That tank is there. And the long 2-run homer by Michael Morris after half inning of play. It's 2-0 Bad Guys.
And here's how Robin's going to line them up. Alejandro Diaz leading off. Then it's Ramirez, Rios, Dunn, Konerko, Viciedo, Gillespie, Flowers, and Gordon Beckham at second and hitting ninth. The defense behind Iwakuma, Bay, Gutierrez, and Morse in the outfield. Seager, Ryan, Andino, and Smoke in the infield. Jesus Montero behind the plate. And Hisashi Iwakuma on the hill. He threw very well first time out. He can get that fastball up there 93, 94 miles an hour. He's got a good hard slider, probably his best breaking pitch. He will throw a changeup and a splitter, depending on which is working on a given day. And he's got very good control.
And before we show you our picks to click, you at home select yours. First pitch to Alejandro, taken for a strike. Hernandez and Iwakuma beat Oakland the first two games of the season. And Oakland won the last two games of the 4-game set. Since then, counting those two, they've won 4 in a row.
Oakland's got another good solid team. They've got terrific pitching. And Bartolo Colon made his first appearance of the year.
One and two.
Like Oakland's pitching is so good, they give it a youngster by the name of Dan Straley, who came up, struck out 11, gave up 2 runs in 6 2/3, and then they sent him down to the minor leagues because they had to make a place for Bartolo.
One out. Yeah, that's in poker they would call it, say that's a bad beat there.
Well, he threw too well, I guess, but that's a bad problem to have, having that as an insurance policy. You've got a couple other young guys who throw very well.
Well, I think although they did it last year. I think it's going to be a little different story over in that West this season.
Especially if the Angels start to hit. Albert Pujols had his first multi-homer game yesterday since last August, so that's a good sign.
Alexei jumps all over it, smokes it down there. One hops the fence. So he pulls in with his second 2-bagger of the season.
I think the happiest guy in the ballpark that has been a moderate first week of the season. Yes, we've had a couple of very cold days, but a couple of decent days, is Alexei Ramirez. Usually a slow starter. He got that fastball right down the middle, and he took it in the left field corner.
Well, he's been an interesting guy. You know, I love to watch guys in spring training. In this spring, this particular spring, by far, he has had the best body language he's had since he's been in a White Sox uniform.
Probably feels much more comfortable than he's ever felt.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Here's Alex. Takes that outside. Rios at 389, a couple of homers. He's driven in 4. Those 2 home runs and 4 RBIs coming in this series. Boy, he hit one yesterday a long way. And if you miss that.
This was an 0-2 pitch, and it was a changeup that Hernandez got up. The first player since 2008 hit an 0-2 Hernandez pitch out of the ballpark. Adrian Beltre homered on an 0-2 pitch.
Well, I'm sure you threw a few 0-2 home runs in your day, but I guarantee you didn't throw many in that Oriole uniform.
No, they didn't. They didn't care for that particular philosophy.
No.
They wanted you to miss just off the corner. The key was making it tantalizing enough so that somebody might swing at it. Otherwise, I mean, guys that like to throw 7 feet high and outside, that's a useless pitch. There's nothing.
Sure it is.
Nothing accomplished by that.
That's into center field. Gutierrez gets it back in. Strong throw. So that is out number 2. And right now, let's check out our picks to click today. Jim Angiar directing the crew. Well, they went with Flowers. Steve's going with Gillespie and Dave Fairman, Dave Warshot, Paulie, and all the great folks out at the Golf Club Scottsdale. Fabulous place. We're going to go with Adam Dunn, standing at the plate right now. Adam 2 for 9 in the series. But he's had some good at bats. Stacks it up, takes a strike. Robert Andino back, well back, out on the outfield grass. Ryan on the first base side of second. Hey, we got ourselves a tie ball game. You can put it on the board. Yes. Yes. 2 big men. Michael Morris for them. Adam Dunn for us. Tie Wagel.
No doubt about either one of these home runs, and for Adam Dunn, that's his second. He drives in runs number 2 and 3. Home run number 408. That one down the middle. Once again, Iwakuma getting a good portion of the plate, and at 86 miles an hour, that's not going to fool too many people.
Well, the first fastball was off the plate. I thought he was going to just stay out there.
No, we didn't. Fortunately, he did not.
So here's Paulie. Takes first pitch strike.
So on the picks to click, can I trade you a draft choice down the road for?
I got to call Dave Fairman and Dave Warshot and Paulie and see. There's a broken bat. And Dino barehands it, didn't have to. But the long 2-run homer by Adam Dunn, and this game is tied at 2. Two-run homer by Michael Morse. Two-run homer by Adam Dunn. So far the M's, it'll be Smoke, Seager, and Andino. Takes that fastball inside. Smoke out of Goose Creek, South Carolina. That ball's hit well into center field, but we got a man there. So one out, and a reminder, include 2013 plans, the ticket plans, the White Sox Pick 7 and Pick 14 plans. Select the games you want, including great matchups in the Crosstown Classic Series. Pick 14 plans start at $119 per seat, and Pick 7 plans at $55 a seat. So call 312-674-1000 or visit whitesox.com. Here's Kyle Seager, 1 for 7 in the series. Takes a big bender.
Seager's a good, solid player. Had a nice year last year.
20 homers, led the club.
And a very good defender. They love him on the left side.
Fastball, 0-2.
Seager from the Seattle organization, 3rd round draft pick. So raised and developed by them.
Yeah, he and Ackley out of the University of North Carolina. Gaston's been scuffling, so he's not playing today against Chris Sale.
Not playing Ackley or Saunders, you can understand why they would try to limit the left-handers, although Saunders looks very good.
Yeah, Saunders, to me, is in there each and every day.
He's a good one and getting better.
And one way you can hit left-handers, you get to play against them. That's a high pop-up. Watch out. Now Alexei look back at Tank. They're having some trouble with their communications. And they're both from Cuba.
Yeah, it's not going to be a language barrier.
I know it.
But I think that there's no doubt Viciedo thought that Ramirez was going to take it all the way. And Ramirez, who had banged into Tank once already in a situation like that, thought, well, maybe he was a little closer. When he looked back, he realized that he wasn't going to get there.
Well, he got lucky in that bang up the first time because, as I said, Palillo, the toothpick. Alexei and Diane Viciedo, the Tank.
Yeah, he's gonna lose most of those.
Nice 1, 2, 3 for Chris. We go to the bottom of the second, tied at 2.
Ended with his from last year. Well deserved. He made some outstanding plays all year long, carrying on a tradition of Sox pitchers winning Gold Gloves. Mark Buehrle, of course, a perennial winner. Now pitching with the Toronto Blue Jays by way of the Miami Marlins.
Well, Jake, as you mentioned, he made some unbelievable plays last year.
Very athletic young man.
He takes it as a personal challenge when they hit a bullet right back at him.
And I like the fact that he can go get him right up the third base line, sometimes sliding, stopping, and making the throw to first base.
Well, that play he made in his first start was just awesome. Join the count to Tank. Tank 0 for 4 in the first game of this series. Did not play yesterday against Felix. He missed that game yesterday. Felix just did not have his big fastball. I only saw him hit 91 times.
He was pitching mostly anywhere from 87 to 88. And of course, with that great straight change, you needed disparity between the two pitches, and he didn't have. That's one of the reasons why Alex was able to hit a home run 0-2.
That's in the short center field, but there's a good one right there, and Gutierrez, one out. Now, I was talking to my three-man research crew, three young Sox fans who are always outside the ballpark when I come in, and they're always finding little tidbits, you know, to tell me. And they had taped the game yesterday, and they were talking about, and they're big Felix fans, all three of them are, talking about how he just didn't have his stuff yesterday. Well, he had a pretty good breaking ball, pretty good changeup, but not that big fastball to go along with it. Sox now 5-3 lifetime against him.
That's somewhat surprising, realizing how good he is, and plus in this ballpark, now he's 1-5 lifetime against our Sox with an ERA up close to 5.
Connor, 21 to count. Big game yesterday. 2 for 3, a triple, a single, 2 runs scored. Nice defensive play at third. Just 25 years old. What a nice addition he is to this ball club, giving Robin a lot of flexibility and a lot of options.
Well, I like the fact that he made a terrific play at third base.
One and two. That's low. Flowers on deck. Beckham in the hole. Sashi Iwakuma, 6'3", 210 pounds, 31-year-old right-hander. 9-5 last year with the M's. Out and around it, little chopper 2-hopper. Smokes got him. 2 down. So here's Tyler. Tyler hitting an even 417. 2 homers. One of them coming in the opener of the season. We won that ball game 1-0 behind Chris Sale, who was dueling with James Shields, 2 outstanding pitchers.
Tyler should get a pretty good shot at Iwakuma because he's not overpowering. And if he gets that fastball middle in, Tyler should hit it pretty hard, even though this is his first look at him.
That has popped up, so Iwakuma's going to have himself a nice 1-2-3 second, as did Sale. And we're tied at 2. Cellular Field at the Gate 5 Plaza. Bacardi at the Park offers a full menu from Gibson's Restaurant Group and opens 4 hours prior to all home games. So Bacardi at the Park, grab your friends and give them a try. They're good.
Connor Gillespie is going to have to be careful with Ryan. He likes to at least show bunt or try to bunt once a game. And after hitting below 200 last year, he's got that batting average up over 3.5.
First pitch strike. Oh, and 2 the count. Trying to work that ball right there.
Ryan came out of the St. Louis organization where he was always touted as a defensive wonder. Drafted in the 7th round, 2003. Eventually found his way over here to Seattle, and they love him.
Yes, he gone.
This is where Don Cooper has helped out his pitchers in that he's talked consistently, when you get ahead of hitters, throw that face-high fastball. Get it close enough and you'll find a lot of swings and a lot of strikeouts up there. And there's Don Cooper, one of the best in the business at what he does, standing next to another guy who's one of the best, Herm Schneider.
One and 0 to Gutierrez, who struck out leading off the ball game. Got him on a high fastball. Change up, that's fair. 2 down.
You ever have a start like Chris Davis of the Baltimore Orioles? 17 runs batted in already.
That's unbelievable. But you know how I felt about him. I always felt he was just a monster waiting to pop out.
Texas seems to, for whatever reason, be able to develop first basemen. They spread them around the league because they only have room for one at a time and a DH. But he was from that organization, as was Smoke.
Yeah, Chris with that short. You don't see many left-handed hitters that strong with that short and quick swing.
And he can take it out to all fields, which has really helped him.
Well, that goes hand in hand with being a monster. When you say a guy's got a chance to be a monster, that means he can go anywhere in a ballpark.
Baltimore 3-2, and they've got some offense. They lost Brian Roberts for a month, maybe more, but other than that, that team looks like they're going to put together another solid year.
One of the guys that surprises me on that Baltimore ball club is Buck Showalter. Buck, he's always been a good baseball guy. And he's always been a guy who more or less put things together. But I think Buck has instituted another element into his managing.
There's no doubt, because Buck was a tough guy to play for a long time.
Right.
And now I believe that he's better than he's ever been.
Me too.
And now he's ready to not only assemble a team, but take it to the winning stage.
He gone. I agree. 100%. We're tied at 2. A 2-2 tie here in the bottom of the third. 2-1 and 0 for them. 2-2 and 0 for our guys. Beckham then back to the top of the order with Diaza and Ramirez. Gordon hitting an even 400. I know Sully's Gwen and Grace are happy. He's off to a big start.
He's got plenty of room in center field to drop the ball in front of Gutierrez, who plays as deeply as any center fielder around.
That fastball grabs a strike at 88. And checking some other scores for you. After 4 in Tampa Bay, Cleveland shutting them out 4-0. Justin Masterson. That ball hit into right center field. Hit hard, but because he was playing deep, he's able to get there easily. That's a hang woofing for Beckham. So he hits it right on the money. Meanwhile, now, so come see our Sox take on the Twins Saturday, April 20th at 2:05. First 10,000 kids 13 and under will receive a White Sox puzzle cube. Purchase your tickets today by visiting whitesox.com or calling 866-SOX-GAME.
After the off day tomorrow, we will head on out to Washington, facing the very tough Nationals. Then 3 in Cleveland over the weekend before going to Toronto for 4 and a 10-game road trip.
We have a few 10-gamers this year. Yankees leading Detroit after 5, 3-0 at Comerica. Sabathia on the bump.
That's Verlander, I believe, going for Detroit. You know, Verlander's never gone 2-0 in his career. Never. Pretty hard to believe.
Draws it back. He did not go. He's something.
Well, Miguel Cabrera is facing Sabathia now. Got him out the end of the 5th inning. Cabrera went 4 for 4 yesterday, which is not surprising.
That ball hit deep in the left center field. Bay is there. 2 down. Philadelphia leading Kansas City 4-2 after 4 at Citizens Bank Ballpark. Baltimore 3, Minnesota 2, top of the 5th at Oriole Park. Red Sox shutting out Toronto 8-0. That's in the top of the 7th up at the Rogers Center.
R.A. Dickey is finding that knuckleball is not quite as effective north of the border, probably not quite as effective in the dome as it was outside, because he got pounded today.
Yeah, the more wind for the knuckleballer, preferably blowing out, is much better for him as far as movement. Alexei, he doubled and scored in the first inning.
Good soft breaking ball by Iwakuma. Beginning of last year, he was still suffering the ill effects of an injury he had suffered the year before in Japan. But from the middle of the year on last year, he was about as good as it got in that rotation. And he won the number 2 starting spot behind Felix Hernandez. They were very happy with him after the All-Star break last season.
Good rip by Alexei. Yeah, Tigers did not score in the bottom of the 5th. Out and around the slow breaking ball. Boy, these iPads are great, aren't they?
They are that. So's MLB.com. You can get all the information in the baseball world.
Instant.
MLB.com.
You're a baseball fan. I've gotten to where I take mine on the golf course with me. If it's a little slow, I just go to some app. You know, if it's during the summer, we had an off day, I'll go to baseball and see what's going on.
It would have to be really slow.
Oh, it can get really slow. Soft line drive. Free up, free down. The 7 in a row retired by Iwakuma. Ball blog at WGNTV.com, sponsored by Jeff Vukovich, your local nationwide insurance agents covering the area for 34 years. So to join the nation, visit JeffVuk.com. Nationwide is on your side. As Junior would say, Nationwide is on your side. Here is Morales. He struck out. Chris with 4 punch outs. That ball hit hard. Good jump, but not enough, as he'll get it back in. So the leadoff double.
That ball actually was hit hard enough so it was a knuckleball over the head of Diaza and actually went back in the other direction. So he broke back to his right, only to see this one hit so hard that it drifted back to his left. No chance to get it anyways. The one hops the wall. And Morales in at second base. He is really going to help this ball club.
He can hit. Morse with that long 2-run homer, his 5th of the season in the first inning. And if you missed it, poof.
That slider was up and out over the plate and gone. Now, I will assume that you don't ask a power hitter to hit the ball to the right side here.
Not unless he wants to. Not unless he wants to. Some guys don't mind it one bit, only because they can hit the ball 450 feet to right center field. Change up.
Good spot that time, low and away. You can end this at bat and keep Morales at second. Assuming, of course, that Morris doesn't get on, it will be a successful at bat. Morris is going to strike out a whole lot this year. That time, Chris quick pitched him. Changing his rhythm, trying to disrupt the rhythm of Morris. And a whole lot of pitches so far. Pitch number 54 on the way with nobody out here in the 4th inning.
Gas. He gone.
Went upstairs once again. Good spot for it. Just overmatches them with the high heat. And you can see a bat that's just a little tardy. But that's in a perfect spot. He's not going to catch up to it up there.
Here's Montero. One out to left.
Montero, former Yankee farmhand, they didn't want to part ways with, but the idea of acquiring Michael Pineda was just a little too tempting, so they made the deal, and Pineda's been hurt since.
Alexei picked by Dunn. 2 down.
You saw Michael Pineda in his early days.
Whew.
He looked like he was going to be overwhelming, didn't
he? Yeah, he did. You hate to see injuries to anybody, but especially those good-looking young players.
Nobody's to blame, just one of those things that happen. You take your chances when you get a young pitcher, especially one who hadn't been through a whole lot of arm problems. And they took a chance and came up a little short.
There's a strike. Well, I played in the minor leagues when I was coming up with a guy who was the best player, best talent I've ever seen, and never played in the big leagues, and it was because of an injury. This guy could fly. He could hit it 500 feet. He was a pitcher, threw over 100 miles an hour. Bob Flynn from El Segundo, California. And he pitched scoreless through spring training one year, and the day before we left to go north, they sent him out. And he got so upset. He was a right-hander. He got so upset he hit the manager's door with his left hand, knocked the door off the hinges, broke his left hand. And then when he was rehabbing, he had a cast on, and it changed his motion. He got a bad arm and never played again. And the best without question talent I have ever seen to never play in the big leagues.
It happens every year, and sometimes, regardless of the talent, a performer's body is not going to allow them to succeed. Just keeps breaking down. Nice stops.
Breaking ball misses.
And I think that was a pitch around by Chris Sale. Didn't get it all that close. Tyler Flowers doing a nice job of smothering everything in the dirt. Looked like he wanted to get to left-handed Kyle Seager.
Well, this is a little different scenario too for Seager. It's a little more positive for him. He popped up to short his first at bat, but also when he did that, there was nobody on and 1 out. Now with 2 out, runners at the corners, if he's thinking in the right way, then he knows that he's not going to try to throw in that low breaking ball with a man on third. That breaking ball was up and it caught the strike. So then you can raise your sights just a little bit and make it a little more positive at being dangerous.
Well, last year he was very dangerous in similar situations. 86 runs batted in, 44 coming with 2 outs.
That's tremendous.
And that number for any hitter is great, but for a young hitter is spectacular.
Yeah, he can have more, and that pitch right there really sets him up even to be more positive. That's one of the best pitches you can throw to a hitter. Is a high neck in fastball. Because he knows now that you can't hit him. Took that pitch nicely, that breaking ball low.
But with the pitches starting to pile up, and Chris Sale with a lot of strikeouts, as he usually does, that brings the bullpen into play a little bit earlier than Robin would like. Yesterday, Veal, Jones, Thornton, Crane, and Reed. The game before, Lindstrom, Veal, Crane, and Jones. So the bullpen has been used a lot as Chris gets ready to deliver pitch number 65.
Gets the call. 2-2, 2 out, 2 on. Well, Axelrod yesterday, if you guys out there missed that game, was just outstanding.
That was really a clinic for all the pitchers who might not have overwhelming stuff and how to use the stuff you have and when to use it. Because Dylan was great.
Stayed with that breaking ball pretty good. Fouls it away. Yeah, Axelrod, he got some stones. Threw a lot of fastballs in, and then took a little something off the breaking stuff away. Didn't throw too many fastballs for strikes.
Didn't want him to hit his fastball.
Good rip right there.
Tried to heat him upstairs, and Seager able to follow it straight back. So after a steady diet of breaking balls, he decided to throw one up and in. Seager fought it off.
Seager was all over that one.
Good thing it was as high as it was.
Yeah. 4 or 5 inches lower, might have been some trouble.
Well, if Tyler does go to the breaking ball, Chris has got to be pretty well assured that he gets it away.
That ball hit into left center field. It's a can of corn. Makes the catch. That'll retire the side. They strand a pair. We'll go to the bottom of the fourth. Still a 2-2 game. identical at 2-2 and 0. For us, it'll be Rios, Dunn, Konerko.
And let's see if the second time around our hitters get a little better look at Iwakuma. Now they know the breaking ball, and they know the speed of the fastball. He stopped out at 90 today.
That ball is hurt, but foul. It's the hard strike as he goes down on his derriere. As I said, that ball was hit hard.
Yeah, some plays are just a little tougher than most, especially when they take a bad hop and your feet work like that.
That ball, soft line drive. 1 out.
Our fourth drive of the game came in the first inning with Ramirez at second base and 2 outs. And Adam just unloaded. The no-doubter, his second of the year. He's now driven in 4, and just like that, it was a tie game.
And of course, another generous contribution to White Sox charities from Alex Snellius in loving memory of Ursula. We're thinking about you, Alex. Had him all over that one. Fouls it off. Looked like he was trying to take that one into left center. I would love to see him hit anywhere from 10, 12, 13 home runs to left center. If he did that, he'd probably hit 50 this year.
And he'd drive in a few more runs using left field.
They got the shift on. The biggest thing that would tell you that he's really staying on the ball. It's like Tommy. When Tommy was hitting balls out of the bark to left center, he was dangerous. I mean, he was swinging that bat. That's outside. 2-1.
Alex off to a very good start, although he's 0 for 2 today.
Ground ball. 2 down. That's why one of the reasons AJ had such a big year last year. He started hitting right-handers to left field. And then make a mistake and he'd yank it out of there.
Most of his home runs last year went to right center field.
And deep.
Yep.
Talking about Texas, they're hosting the Angels tonight. Weaver against Yu Darvish.
Nice matchup. Darvish, of course, 1 out from a perfect game the first time out. That coming against the Houston Astros. Astros having a few problems scoring runs so far. They're getting shut out today 4-0.
Who do you like in the West this year?
Well, I'd like to tell you that Texas will have a good shot at it. I think eventually the Angels will take over. I think they've done a lot for their hitting. But I think a lot of people who felt that with the loss of Hamilton, the demise of the Rangers were imminent, I think those people are wrong. I think it's going to be a tough race all the way down.
Breaking ball.
Matt Harrison's 0-2 this year, so he's not throwing the ball as well as he can.
Well, he's going to come around. I like the Rangers. I think Texas is going to win it. I think Darvish is going to have a big year. Gando's throwing the ball good. That's high. Can of corn. And that'll do it. That's 10 in a row retired by that guy.
everyone. Fifth Third Bank, the curious bank. Member FDIC. There's a look at Rick Riz.
A terrific announcer. And longtime partner of Hall of Famer Dave Niehaus. I miss Dave.
What a nice man he was.
And he always had 2 or 3 of the best jokes that you never heard.
I'm just happy that he won the Ford Frick Award.
Before he passed.
A couple of years before he passed away, he could enjoy it, which is the way it should be. And you put in that kind of meritorious service. He was there originally. He was the original broadcaster with the Mariners.
77.
Wonderful, wonderful man. Great legacy in the game.
Yes, one of the best. Change up. So Andino is retired. And it'll bring up Ryan. Struck out. High gas.
Did not show bunt the first time up. Doesn't mean he won't show it here. Gillespie in at the cut of the grass at third and moving a couple of steps toward the plate as the ball heads toward Ryan.
Change up. I think the biggest loss that they're going to have, though, talking about the Rangers, to me it was not Hamilton, it was Michael Young.
He helped Philadelphia yesterday. They came back against Greg Holland in the 9th inning.
I'm just a Michael Young fan. I love the way the guy played the game. He gone. 6 strikeouts, 2 down. But they've got picked up Berkman, who's, if he's healthy, he's really going to help that ball.
And he will be healthy for at least 6 weeks.
Jason Frazier. Jason, if he gets his breaking ball over, he can really help that ball club as well. But if he doesn't get the breaking ball over, he's going to get hit hard.
He had his moments. I mean, you got to like him. He competes.
I love it.
But
he's got to get the breaking ball over.
He does that. When he does, he's pretty tough.
Daniel Marty is. And Soria, you know. I wonder what his status is right now.
It's tough to come back from what he came back from. And so I think he's almost in a situation that John Danks is in. He's got to build up arm strength again. Right. He's not going to be asked to be the closer. He has to be the setup man.
That's high on the right. Nice inning. We're halfway home, tied at 2.
by Julio Cruz and Rudy Law. They were the speedsters off that 83 team. They've still got something left. I'm not sure what it is, but they do. And of course, there is my partner signing autographs before the game. Players, coaches.
And Stone Pony.
Yeah, we were there meeting the fans.
So Tank pops up, one down. Well, Rudy stole 77 bases, which is still the White Sox franchise record. And Juice wound up with 54. Juice, when we got Juice from Seattle, that just absolutely just put a new spark into that ball club. And they wound up winning 99 games. And of course, he scored the pennant or division clinching run against Seattle. Harold Baines knocked him in.
Well, if you have one guy who can run, that's good. If you got two who can run at the top, that puts a whole lot of pressure on the pitcher and a lot of pressure on the catcher. And of course, Harold, well, speed wasn't his game, but he could really hit.
And Rudy and I were talking about it the other day when he was up here. People just forget as Connor hits that ball hard. Meanwhile, Ham Whiffle, 2 down. People forget, unless some of our senior citizens who watched him play, Harold was a heck of a right fielder. Had a terrific arm, threw strikes. And you didn't go from first to third on him if he could get to the ball. So here's Tyler. He popped up to smoke.
In the meantime, Iwakuma must have been aggravated with that home run by Dunn because he hasn't allowed a base runner since.
And as far as Cruz goes, people forget that Sox were floundering in 5th place when he came over. And he just turned there were 2 big incidents that turned that club around. Tony moved Pudge to the 2-hole and acquiring Cruz. The offense just took off and never looked back. And of course, if you're just tuning in, the reason we're talking about these guys so much is that you see the uniforms. We're going to be wearing these uniforms, 83, honoring that ball club every Sunday this season.
The 5th inning is brought to you by Fifth Third Bank, creating contemporary solutions for better banking experiences for everyone. Fifth Third Bank, the curious bank. Member FDIC.
Yeah, that 83 club, the best chemistry I've ever seen on a team. Two out and the 2-2 pitch. Tyler was going to take one.
Looked to me like Tyler was trying to keep his elbow in there long enough to get that soft curveball and get aboard.
Yeah, with 2 strikes.
Take a look at the lead elbow. He's trying to drop it into the spot somehow to look unobtrusive to umpire Kerwin Danley, but he missed it.
Oh, made a beat pitch on him, and that'll retire the side. That is 13 in a row retired by Iwakuma. 2-run homer by Michael Morse, his 5th of the season. Bottom of the first, a 2-run homer by Adam Dunn, his 2nd. And right here, Jason Bay, Kendrys Morales, and Michael Morse. So the heart of this order. That ball high and deep, but Tank is there. He just missed it. A reminder, you can organize a group outing of 20 or more for a Sox game during the 2013 season and receive savings off the individual game ticket price. You can enhance your outings by upgrading to our new Miller Lite bullpen party porch, pregame patio party, diamond suite, or one of the other great party areas. Call 312-674-1000 or visit WhiteSox.com. And of course, out in that area, that's the Bertucci boys' domain. Bobby, Bruno, and Handsome Anthony. That ball into left center field. Tanks, and it's out of here. So it's the 3-2 Mariner lead. Morales' his first homer. He's now 2 for 3 with that double and homer.
Looked like another pitch that Chris got up. We'll take a look at it. Tyler wants it low and away, and that ball just kind of drifted, as you can see. Thigh high, middle third of the plate. And Kendrys Morales does what they got him to do, which was make an offensive impact.
Here's Morris. Takes that changeup low and away. He had a bomb out of here in the first inning after they had walked. Another changeup. 1-1. Boston leading Toronto 13-0. Middlebrooks 4 for 5 with 3 home runs in that game.
That is a nice day. That could be for a lot of people a nice week.
Lester 7 innings, 5 hits, no runs. Dickey 4 2/3 innings, 10 hits, 8 runs, 7 earned. After 7 at Comerica Park, still 3-0 Yankees. Sabathia over Verlander. Kansas City has come back. They were trailing 4-2. It is 6-4 Royals now, top of the 6th at Citizens Bank.
Yankees at 1-4. Their only starting pitcher one was Andy Pettitte.
Yeah,
that fastball right by him. So
the Yankees are going to struggle this year.
Yankees starting rotation is not one of their strong points, and of course they've had so many injuries.
Yeah, they're really going to struggle. Here's Montero going out to left and grounded to short. Boink. Off the glass, upper deck, into the lower bowl.
Seattle going to be very happy to get home. They left Arizona. They flew to Oakland, which is not a short flight, before flying here with no off day and then heading home.
Right field. So Montero is going to fly out, but the line drive home run by Kendrys Morales. After 5.5, it's 3-2 Mariners.
FM, ESPN Deportes, Chicago's first and only FM Spanish language sports radio station.
We need one to tie. 3-3-0 for their guys, 2-2-0 for our guys. Beckham, Gordon 0 for 1. He hit a P in the center field. Line shot in the right center that Gutierrez, who plays very deep, as Steve told you, had no problems getting to. Normal depth, probably been the double.
And Gordon probably hit the ball as hard as anybody, but nothing to show for it.
How's that back underneath Stone Pony?
You know, Hawk, free agency is changing. Everybody is locking up their players long term. We've seen Verlander, Posey, Elvis Andrus, Adam Wainwright, Paul Goldschmidt, Evan Longoria. We locked up Chris Sale. I mean, is that the wave of the future? Is free agency as we knew it not going to be the same?
We got ourselves, maybe, no, off the end of the bat, foul. Yes, it is the way. It is the way. You're going to roll the dice a little bit, but if it works out, you're going to save a lot. You're going to save millions. And, you know, it's just like we were talking the other day when Kansas City, that might be one of the worst contracts I've ever seen that Salvador Perez signed.
Yeah, that was long term, but it wasn't long term for excessive money. He's going to be overpaid for maybe 1 year, and then he's going to start being underpaid for a lot of years.
Long time.
Yeah.
I mean, I just couldn't believe that. Neither one of us could when we saw it. Nope. But, no, I think that's going to be the way. You see, with good young talent, as I said, you know, you're better off risking it on good young talent than you are on guys who are 28, 29, 30 years old, especially pitchers.
Well, it's also going to put a premium on scouting, drafting, and player development.
Well, they're going to have more responsibility. There's no question about it. And from our standpoint, I like it because Doug Lawman and his crew, we've got some terrific scouting, and the proof's in the pudding. We've seen. I mean, the mouth lies, the eyes don't. We've seen what these guys have come up with.
Well, we got a guy starting today that's proof of that. Lasted to the 13th pick in the first round, and that was Chris Sale.
That's out of play.
I think our guys were delighted that Chris dropped down that far, probably because he was as thin as he is. I don't think people realized how competitive and how strong he is.
I don't think they could believe that he lasted that long.
Nope.
Same way with Gordon Beckham. Breaking ball. Stay fair. Dadgummit.
Just missed doubles down each line. Not fouled by much, but slicing down the line. Fouled by about 5 feet.
Yeah, Gordon, before he's done, is going to be some kind of player. First couple of years, when he first got here, it was awesome. And after that, next couple of years, he just outdumbed himself. There's a breaking ball. Now he's gone through that stage, and he's taking it up to another level now with his approach rather than all mechanics.
I think the best thing that he had going for him was the overall baseball acumen, because he understood how to play the game, played it particularly well defensively, regardless of where he was put, and now he's found a home at second base.
Cutting and slashing.
Be nice to lead off the inning and put Iwakuma in the stretch. The reason being that he's very slow. And usually when a pitcher is that slow from the stretch, puts their defenders back on their heels. And you get a chance to run on Montero, but with nobody on, you can't do that.
Made a good beat pitch on him. 1 out.
Looked like he went to the changeup, and that ball just disappeared.
So here is Diaza. Alejandro for 2. Struck out and went out deep to left.
Alejandro made one great bunt in this series, but unfortunately Seager was a little better. He looked like a perfect bunt, but he was thrown out by a half step.
Takes a nice little Hawthorne Woods bounce right there. And Dino, if it stays down, it's going to be a tough play. So here's Alexei, a double, a run scored, and a soft line drive to second. Bring your family to the ballpark for all new Family Sundays presented by the University of Chicago Medicine Comer Children's Hospital. Tickets start as low as $5, parking just $10. Kids' activities include pregame player autographs and running the bases post-game. White Sox and Comer Children's Hospital teaming up to promote a healthy lifestyle and combat childhood obesity. Want to know the count to Alexei.
Last year, Iwakuma, still suffering from that injury from the year before, was actually buried in the bullpen. The last man in the bullpen. But he certainly has seen his stock rise since then.
Well, let me ask you a question. Being a pitcher and a good one, if you put a bag over Iwakuma's head, okay, and didn't know his name, and he has this windup, where would you say he's from? That ball hit hard, but that wind's going to knock it down, and that'll retire the side. We'll go to the 7th, trailing 3-2.
Race, I guess you would call it. 3 very fast runners, as you remember. Ron Kittle having some problems. Looked like Harold just about ready to put it away.
No way.
Yep.
No way.
The flying feet of Harold Baines, winning it easily.
Fist gonna blow both those guys' doors off.
And there's Harold, very happy to have 1-1.
1-0 to Smoke. And it evens at 1. But let me get back to Iwakuma. It wouldn't take you long to figure out where he's from if you didn't know his name and he had a bag over his head,
Nope.
right?
I would say that he was from Japan for the simple reason he's got that hesitation, that little leg hesitation kick that you see from many pitchers that are from there for whatever reason. And I don't know, maybe it adds to the deception, or maybe it's just how they're taught, but you see so many of the Japanese pitchers come into this league with that type of delivery.
Well, we played against the Japanese teams. There's a shot down into the corner, so Smoke will lead it off. As here's the throw. He gone. Tank. Show it off, buddy. He's got a gun out there.
I think that they probably forgot from last year to this that it got to the point where very few people, if any, would run on Vicieda. This is a 2-hop rocket against the wall, and then he comes up firing, and they've got Smoke by plenty. All Gordon had to be aware of was that front foot was elevated. You don't want to get torn up on the slide, but he's able to get out of the way, and he had him by a good 5 feet.
Seager takes a strike. Yeah, but when we played against them, they were doing the same thing back then with that motion.
Indeed. And just about all the Japanese pitchers, certainly the ones that come over here, they've got very good control. They also have 5 or 6 pitches and variations on all of them. But we're going to have to go some. Look, Nomo was terrific. It could very well be that before all is said and done, Hugh Darvish might be the best of the bunch to ever come out of there and come to this country.
But again, Nomo, he was the fastest in baseball history to reach 1,000 strikeouts, the youngest, I should say.
Just amazing stuff. Remember him pitching a no-hitter entirely from the stretch.
That ball hit in the center field. Yeah, I know when we played him out in Tucson in spring training, I wasn't going to take BP that day, so they asked me, the Japanese representative asked me if I'd come out and take batting practice. So I did. And then the game starts, and they had about a 6'4", 19-year-old kid out there. You're talking about their good control. First pitch, he hit me right in the thigh.
He had good control.
I'm telling you.
He was thrown at you.
You talking about it hurt? It felt like that thing hit me, backed up and came again. And then, I was really PO'd. And I looked at him, and he took off his hat and bowed.
It was the least he could do.
No, but I don't know. To me, I don't know if it deters some leg drive or what. But I thought you might have the answer for why they all do it.
I don't have any idea.
I would say you mentioned the key word, though, probably deception.
Yeah. And it really goes against some of our pitching philosophies in that years ago in the Tom Seaver, Nolan Ryan
drop and drive
era, the drop and drive era.
That's fair ball. 1 hop by Andino for the ground rule double. So now that throw by Tank looming large.
And for some of you who don't know what the drop and drive is, we'll watch this one again, and the wind really kept this in because normally this ball would slice foul, but it didn't this time. The drop and drive meant you'd sit over your back leg and push off and got down so low that your right knee, if you were a right-hand pitcher, your right knee would actually hit the ground, and you'd have that spot on your uniform either worn out or certainly full of clay from driving at the hitter.
off the end of the bat. A lot of spin on that. So Ryan is retired. 7th inning stretch. It is still 3-2 Seattle.
Major League Baseball.
It's a 3-2 Seattle lead here in the bottom of the 7th inning. 3-5-0 for the Mariners. 2-2-0 for our guys. We have not had a base runner. Not had a base runner since Adam Dunn hit that 2-run homer in the first inning. He is retired 16 in a row. And a reminder, Friday, April 26th, come see our Sox take on Tampa Bay. Joe Madden's Tampa Bay Rays at 7:10 p.m. All fans are invited to stay for a post-game fireworks show presented by Magellan Corporation. Purchase tickets today by visiting whitesox.com or calling 866-SOX-GAME.
Tampa Bay Rays not having a real good time of it today. Cleveland leading them 11-0. And I think that was David Price going to the mound for Tampa Bay, having all kinds of problems.
Price against Masterson. Rios, Dunn, Konerko, Viciedo, Gillespie. Whew. Nasty. But it's just the first strike. Alex has gone out to center. That ball staying there. He looks up. You can't put it on the board. Yes. A bullet. And this game is tied at 3. Mercer.
Home run number 3, RBI number 5. And every run scored, all 6 of them in this game, via the long ball. After throwing one on the outside corner, unhittable, a perfect strike, Iwakuma comes back down the middle. And at 89, that fastball goes out of the park in a hurry. So a brand new ball game, tied at 3.
And here's Adam. He just killed one out of here for that 2-run home in the first. And a very similar looking scorecard if you're scoring along with us, with 2 out in the first inning. Morris hit a 2-run homer. With 2 out in the first inning, Dunn hit a 2-run homer. Morales, third place hitter, hit the homer to put him on top 3-2. Rios, third place hitter, tied it up. Pace of the pitch got him right there, and the count 0-2.
Iwakuma now in 2 starts has given up 3 home runs. There you look at the line score. We've been out hit 5-3. It's been an errorless game characterized by the long ball.
There's a rocket right to Smoke. That's a hang with him. So 1 out. Here's Paulie. Paulie's grounded to second and going out to center.
Sox bullpen up and going. So Chris Sale has a lot of pitches. He's been through 7. Really helped out by a great throw by Diane Viciedo. It's Matt Lindstrom. Last time we saw him, he was just about as good as it got. 2 1/3 innings. 2 1/3 perfect innings.
He's been terrific.
Got good stuff. Throws a fastball in the mid-90s. Hard breaking slider.
Change up. Tigger got plenty of time. Here's Tank. He's due. 0 for 2 today. Popped to center and popped up to second. Minnesota's come back to take a 4-3 lead over Baltimore, hitting in the bottom of the 7th. 2-0. Got the catbird seat.
3 teams tied atop the standings. Our Sox, Detroit, and Minnesota heading into play today. All of 3-2.
High in the right field. Morse stays with it, makes the catch, but the home run by Rios is 3rd of the season, 3rd of the series, and we're tied at 3.
On for the third time. He does have a hold. Hasn't given up a hit yet. 3 innings and nothing.
Top of the order for the M's, Gutierrez, Bay, Morales. Gutierrez 0 for 3. First ball hunting high into center field.
The Sox bullpen has been put to the test in this opening homestand. They're 3 for 3 in save opportunities, walking 6, fanning 16, and 16 2/3 innings. Xfinity from Comcast gives you a front row seat to all your favorite sports. Xfinity, your home for the most live sports.
Michael Sanders hitting for Bay, who was 0 for 2 with a walk. And he just missed hitting one out of here, leading off the 6th inning. Here's a good-looking young 26-year-old.
He hit a home run yesterday against Matt Thornton, opposite field.
Yeah, I still have trouble believing that ball went out of here.
Well, that was definitely wind aided, but
he hit it hard.
He hit it hard.
Yeah. 2-0. He just keeps getting better and better, this Saunders.
Not one of the guys that you want to walk because he does have pretty good speed.
Beckham's got him. And he makes a bad throw. Wow. Boy, you don't see that very often at all.
He's got him and he's got time. Just looked like he didn't get the handle on it and pulled Adam well wide of the bag. Fortunately, Tyler Flowers is there. And fortunately, that one hit off the screen and bounced back in the field of play. Did not go into the dugout. Otherwise, Saunders, representing the go-ahead run, would be out at second. Knowing that he did take at least a break towards second base. Alertly, Flowers trying to go behind him and get the out, but Saunders got back in.
He's got a good lead, and he's 2 for 2 in stolen bases.
Well, last year he swiped 21. So he's one of the guys on this team that will take off.
He's on point.
He does have an unusual stance at first base for a decent base stealer. He angles his body.
There, a little fake. Meanwhile, a count 2-0 to a dangerous hitter. 2 for 3 today, a double and a homer. There's a strike.
I would think if he's going to go, this would be the pitch. Because the longer he doesn't go, the more the chance of a double play ground ball and out of the inning. Eric Wedge would love to see Morris hit this inning and not leading off the next.
Well, you can get a big lead off Lindstrom. Takes a long time. Fairly quick feet, but a long time with that long arm over to first. And there is Alexei, who is going towards second. Base hit. And now trouble of brewing after the error. 2 on, 1 out, and here comes Michael Morris, who's 1 for 3, a 2-run homer in the first.
Now that was a fake break by Saunders, and that fake at first, you see it here, that pulled Alexei out of play. If he doesn't break, Then Alexi stays there, and it's an easy ground ball, maybe 2.
Well, that's the reason the guys give those fake breaks.
Yeah, pulls the defense out of position. And good camera work, guys, to be able to get that overview to see exactly what was going on that play. So the subtleties of the game of baseball sometimes come into play in a big way.
Yep. Takes it up and takes ball 1. Count evens.
And this is where our ball club was so good last year, pitching over a mistake. And certainly, if our club does get out of this inning, there's going to be one very relieved second baseman who very rarely makes a defensive miscue.
It's all right. Like to play anyway. You just cannot let base runners freewheel. You got to get them. You got to get their wheels turning a little bit. Count evens at 2.
I've always liked, and we're not going to see it here because Kendrys Morales is not taking a good secondary lead, but I've always liked early in the count the play in back of the runner at first base, because they take a good secondary lead, wanting to make sure they break up 2, and with a man at second, if it's coordinated, it's usually very effective picking him off first.
Big pitch coming up, full count.
Tyler wants it inside, but this one had good movement, just too far inside.
Little spinner there, just got a piece of it.
Keeping the ball for the most part inside. And then trying to go away to get him out. So you set him up in, you go away to get him out.
He gone. Big out. 2 down.
And a big block of the pitch by Tyler Flowers. That one gets away. It sets up a completely different scenario. Morse expands that strike zone.
That'll bring up Jesus Montero, who was 0 for 3. Fly out to left, ground out to short, fly out to right. He's dangerous. Checks it up, fouls it off. Low and away. Evidently he did not foul it off. They got 2-0, and Kerwin Danley has not corrected that. 2 balls and a strike to the 23-year-old catcher. He gone. Evidently he did foul it off. Meanwhile, he pitches over a big mistake and will go to the bottom of the 8th, tied at 3. Out of a big jam right there.
Our bullpen has been terrific. Lindstrom has been almost unhittable. I thought Chris Sale was pretty good today, but all the runs scored via the home run, and right now we've got ourselves a whale of a ball game.
Yes, it is. Bottom of the 8th inning. We'll see what we can do here. Adam Dunn, Alex Rios with home runs. Mike Morse, Kendrys Morales.
And there's our Honda game summary. It's 3-3. Mariners about hit us 6-3. We have the 1 error in the game. Here, Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Honda dealers, as reliable as the cars themselves. They brought you that summary. Michael Saunders stays in the game in right field. And Michael Morse shifts over to left field.
Connor Gillespie. Connor grounded to first and lined out hard to left field.
Seattle bullpen up and going. Iwakuma's given up just 3. 3 hits, 3 runs. They've all been for extra bases.
And that's a base hit. He didn't get that nice Bolingbrook bounce right there. Bounced over his glove. So a good way to start.
That one an off-speed pitch, but it had the middle of the plate. And Dino has had a good day at second, but not this time, as it hopped up, hit the glove, and into right field. So there's the potential to go ahead and perhaps winning run.
Here's Tyler. Tyler has popped out to first and struck out. Ups. Rack him up. Quickly 2 gone, and a reminder: experience White Sox baseball year-round by scheduling Southpaw for your birthday party, wedding, holiday party, festival, or block party. Southpaw is available 365. To have Southpaw visit your next event, call 312-674-1000 and visit whitesox.com/southpaw. Here's Gordon. He's lined out to center and struck out. Takes first pitch. Fastball strike.
Perez, the left-hander, and Capps, who we've seen in this series, the right-hander. Hard-throwing right-hander.
And Iwakuma has pitched well today. One time, retiring 16 in a row. Way back. Stretch. Morse at the wall. He's there and hauls it in. Dadgummit. Wow. We're into the ninth.
Lindstrom for an inning, and now Jesse comes on for the 4th time. He's thrown the ball very well also. He's got to go through Smoke, Seager, and Andino. Get this game into the bottom of the 9th inning.
Justin Smoke going out deep to center, walked and singled hard into left field. Takes ball 1.
Temperature has gone down considerably as this game has moved along.
44.
We were signing autographs before the game. It was downright warm in the stands.
I had to take off my jacket.
I hope you brought a couple to replace it because it is chilly.
That's low. 2-1. Kansas City leading in that ball game 9-4 over Philadelphia. Billy Butler has 7 RBIs.
7. Nice day.
There's a strike to even the count. Top of the 9th in Baltimore, 4-3 Minnesota. Yankees leading the Tigers 7-0. Bottom of the 9th at Comerica Park. Curveball chop foul. 13-0. Tampa Bay is losing to Cleveland.
Looks very much like Justin Verlander. Inexplicably will not go 2-0 this year to start the season. As good as he is, that's remarkable.
Full count. Atlanta leading the Cubs 5-1, top of the 9th down in Georgia. Cincinnati doubled up Washington 6-3. Boston really hurt Blue Jays 13-0. Middlebrooks had 3 home runs in that game. He goes after ball 4. We catch a break, 1 down.
Justin Smoak went way up and out of the strike zone. That's a huge break indeed. Now facing Seager with nobody on.
This guy, little guy, is dangerous. 20 home runs last year. He'll turn it loose like he did right there. Meanwhile, 0-1.
He's a touch under 6 feet tall, but he's around 215 pounds. So he's not tall, but he's a wide third baseman.
Little tank.
That'll get your attention.
Yeah, Jesse didn't like that big hack he took. White Sox back a long time ago had a pitcher who won 300 games.
Early win.
Gus.
Early win.
You took a swing like he took off that curveball. You're going right on your behind.
I remember him
right
from
on your butt.
Cleveland Indians.
Ground ball sucked up by a big one. 2 down.
Donnie Veal loosening up.
Top of the order for us in the bottom of the 9th. Piazza, Ramirez, Rios.
He's loosening in case Eric Wedge decides to bring a left-hander off that bench.
Here's Andino. Twice he has grounded out to short, and he has doubled, ground rule double down the right field line. Breaking ball.
Left-hand hitters left to the disposal of Eric Wedge are Dustin Ackley and Raul Ibanez. Probably be Ibanez in a situation where he needs a run.
That is out of play right side. So Andino last year with Baltimore had a tough season. The year before had a good year. But both years has played well against us. Would not chase it. 2-2. That ball hit hard. We got a man there. That's the hang Wolfham for Andino. Meanwhile, We'll go to the bottom of the ninth. Top of the order, tied at 3. That for your iPhone, iPad, and Android. Get scores, stats, highlights, live audio, and more. Text AtBat to 31826 or visit whitessox.com.
New pitcher on for Seattle. It's Oliver Perez. Perez, hard-throwing left-hander, was a starting pitcher and a good one. Then he fell on some hard times with a whole lot of injuries, and now he has resurrected his career out of the bullpen. This is his third outing. He's yet to give up anything in 2 1/3 innings. It's going to be the top of the order. Trying to push across one lone run. Take the series 2 of 3 from these Mariners.
Piazza. First pitch strike at 93.
Iwakuma went 8 innings, gave up 3 runs on 4 hits, didn't walk anybody, and fanned 3, and did a whale of a job today.
He's a good pitcher. Piazza 0 for 3. Takes ball 1, so the count evens at 1.
Lucas Luetge and Carter Capps throwing in the pen.
Good check. 2-1. Three and 1. Don't help him out.
There's Addison Reed loosening up. We have the off day tomorrow. Could very well be, if you don't push anything across, Robin would just as soon want to buy an inning with his closer.
Full count.
Fastball inside. It did have part of the plate.
Payoff pitch.
Perez's career started back in 1999. He was in the Padres organization for being sent to Pittsburgh. Then the New York Mets, who paid him a great deal of money. Went 15-10 as a starter in '07, but ran into a whole lot of injury problems.
One out. And here comes the skipper, Eric Wedge. Wants the right-hander. So
Gave up a run on 2 hits on Friday night. On for the 3rd time. Hard throwing right-hander. Certainly use a base runner against him because you can steal a base against him.
here's Alexei. Took that pitch nicely down low. 1-0 the count to Alexei, who has doubled and scored. That was in the 1st. Did a soft line drive in the 3rd to the second baseman and went out deep to center in the 6th. One and one. Man, I thought Beckham's ball last inning was gone.
I think for just an instant he might have thought it was gone also.
He did. He thought it was out of here. That one at 94. Rios on deck. And Alexei hanging tough. Gets away, bounces right back to Montero, but he's going to beat it out. So we got a base runner.
There's the potential winning run. Sweeping breaking ball just goes right through the wickets. And Montero, he couldn't corral it. Alexei's aboard. Here's our AT&T UVerse replay, and it's Alice Rios leading off the 7th inning, tying it at 3. His 3rd home run of the year. Find out what's possible with products and services from AT&T. Rethink possible.
Well, that's a small lead. Alex takes strike 1.
Pretty easy to call a pitch out here at 0-1. See what Eric Wedge and Carl Willis have in mind.
That one almost got away from him. Little bigger lead. And that one at 94 puts Rios in the hole, a ball and 2 strikes. Come on, guys, let's do this. We can do it. Got him. 2 down.
Threw a fastball in the inner portion and threw it right by him at 95.
And here comes Wedge. He wants the southpaw. So another break in the action, and we'll be back.
Time, the ERA, little inflated. We saw him in this series. He came on for 1 hitter, gave up a base hit. Now, at the beginning of his career, 25 consecutive scoreless innings to open a career for him. That was pretty impressive. And he'll be facing the big man with the winning run at first.
Well, Lukey. 6'4", 205 pounds, 26-year-old southpaw. Adam. There's that shift. And Dino got it. And we will go to extra innings for the 2nd time in the series.
On. Use your closer when you're at home to buy 1 inning. 3 games, 3 for 3 in saves, 3 innings, nothing. And so he's going to face Dustin Ackley, who's coming on to pinch hit for Brendan Ryan.
Ryan was 0 for 3 today. So here's Ackley. Ackley, 25-year-old second baseman. Takes high and wide. Dustin 0 for 7 in the first 2 games. Two and 0 the count. We'll have an off day tomorrow, then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday tee it up against the Nasty Nats. Then go to Cleveland for 3 and Toronto for 4. There's a strike. After this game, Mariners, who Steve told you open up with a 4-game series in Oakland, 3 here. They go home. They have 3 against Houston and 4 against Texas. Off day, and then 3 with the Tigers. So they have a 10-game homestand. Count evens at 2.
That series with Washington will see Jake Peavy take on Gio Gonzalez Tuesday night. Be Gavin Floyd against Jordan Zimmerman on Wednesday night. And Jose Quintana against Dan Herron on Thursday night. All starting at 6:05 Chicago time.
Change up miss low, so full count. No walks, Addison. Make him hit his way on. High pop up. Oh boy. Piazza. 1 out. And when we have a moment, we'll sound a big White Sox thank you. Such a great job by the Network Operations Center for United Airlines. Mark Sparky Sipole said they're just wonderful people to work with, and they do such a terrific job. Man, I want to welcome Joe Bonilla, who will be on all our flights. Mike Corrigan was the last few years. He got promoted. Now Joe's going to take his place. There's the strike. Gutierrez 0 for 4 today, a strikeout. Little nubber out in front of the mound, thrown out 2-3. Then he went out to right and popped up to center.
Eric Wedge is hoping that Gutierrez at the top is really going to help their on base percentage, because last year the on base percentage from the 1 spot was .281. And that contributes to not scoring a whole lot of runs when that leadoff hitter can't get on.
Yeah, last year our 2-hole hitters, guys hitting in that 2-hole, hit .221. And that's comparable. 2 balls and a strike.
That one just missed off the outside corner, reminiscent of the pitches that he threw to Montero in that ball game yesterday. He struck him out and preserved the win for Donnie Beal.
And that's popped up right side. All right. Watch out. 2 big men right there. Come on. Wow.
Much easier play for Adam Dunn, and Tyler Flowers has to give way there.
Well, you know, we have had in this is the 6th game. We've had literally terrible communication.
Yeah, it's been that way. We've had a lot of collisions, and in this case, for Adam, looking straight at it, all he's got to say is, I got it.
Wow. So here is Saunders. He's been to plate one time, reached on an arrow. You know, in reality, there's no sense for that. None.
Nope.
Not in the big leagues.
All it takes is the guy who's supposed to make the play to just speak up.
Now, you're going to have collisions, especially with outfielders, when they're both running and they're both yelling and they can't hear each other and you got big crowds or whatever. You're going to have some bad collisions. But on routine plays like that, there's no reason, rhyme or reason, not to have good communication. That ball is hit hard. Saunders down in the corner. That's going to be at least a double. So that'll bring up Morales, who's 3 for 4 today with a homer.
That one right down the middle. I'm not sure if you want to mess around at all with Morales here. You've got right-handed hitting Michael Morse in the on-deck circle. And Morales with 3 hits today. And they are indeed going to put him on.
Sox have just announced that Axelrod will start Thursday in Washington. And Quintana will open up for us in Cleveland. So 3-0 the count. And that'll bring up Morse, who homered a 2-run shot, a bomb out of here in the first inning. And if you missed that.
This one a no-doubter. It's a high breaking ball. And that slider just slid its way out of the park in a heartbeat.
And then the next 3 times he has struck out. Morris, who has 5 home runs. Takes strike 1. Good pitch. Two on, 2 out. Top of the 10th inning in a 3-3 tie. 0-2. 3-7-0 for the Mariners. 3-4-1 for our guys.
That second pitch was a whole lot better than the first pitch.
Giving it very, very high target.
A lot of catchers like to double up inside. I just as soon stay away from Morris here, but they're going in.
Throwing it up again.
Addison getting under that fastball. Let's see if Tyler breaks out the slider. Same one he threw to the man you're looking at, Jesus Montero, yesterday.
Fouls it away.
There it was, but he wanted it outside just a touch more.
Ate him up right there. .43 degrees as we speak is number 43 on the mound. Pretty good number for a reliever.
They've tried to stay up and on the inner portion a couple times, but the out most likely will be away.
He gone. And that'll do it. We go to the bottom of the 10th. It'll be Konerko, Viciedo, and Gillespie.
Dustin Ackley, who came on to pinch hit, moves into second base. Sinker balling Cameron Lowe comes on. He's 1-0, ERA 4.5, on for the third time. We saw him on Friday night. He pitched a perfect inning.
So the 6'8" right-hander, 245 pounds, out of Simi Valley, California. Just tuning in, Michael Morse with a bomb out of here in the first inning. They led it 2-0 after a half inning. And then in the bottom of the first, with one out, Alexei doubled. With 2 out, Dunn hit a bomb out of here to right center field. And in the 6th, Morales hit a line shot out of here for a 3-2 lead. Leading off the 7th, Rios hit a bomb out of here to tie the game at 3, and that's how we stand. 3-7-0 for the Mariners, 3-4-1 for our Sox.
Lowe came on to pitch the 9th inning Friday night. It was a 1-2-3 inning. He retired Flowers, Beckham, and Diaza. Now he's got to go through 3 guys who can hit the ball out of the ballpark, and Konerko, Viciedo, and Gillespie.
Paulie 0 for 3, he's due. Show you how good Iwakumen pitching has been. There's strike one. We've only stranded one guy. That was last inning.
That was on a swinging strikeout.
That's low.
Low sinker didn't sink well last year. He appeared in 70 games for Milwaukee. He gave up 9 home runs in 68 1/3 innings. And he was acquired as a minor league free agent February 12th of this year.
Paulie checks it up, takes ball 2. 2-1 to count to Konerko. Ball hit hard but foul. So count evens. Minnesota has defeated Baltimore 4-3. Yankees shut out Detroit 7-0. Cleveland shuts out Tampa Bay 13-0. And a final now from Philadelphia. Kansas City was leading big, but Phillies came back and Kansas City finally won it 9-8. That's into left field. Morris is there. One down. So here comes Tank. Outfield straight up, spread out about equidistant. Good check. 2-0 the count.
Low depends on getting a lot of swings from right-hand hitters on pitches low and just off the plate inside. You can get a good shot at it, but if the sinker's right, you're just going to yank it foul. It's going to be a hard strike.
Ball hit way back. He looks up. You can put it on the board. Yes! A ball by the Tank. And the Sox win it 4-3. That didn't take long. Get out of here, did it?
Well, just like last year when the sinker didn't sink for Cameron Lowe, that one sunk when it left the ballpark. All 7 runs courtesy of the long ball, and a 4-2 homestand courtesy of Dayan Viciedo. A great homestand it was. A very happy ball club sporting the 1983 attire. And a successful day started by Chris Sale, followed up by Lindstrom, Crane, and Addison Reed, who instead of saving this one got the win.
He's off to a pretty good start.
I would say he's off to a great start. Made a big pitch on Morse to get out of the inning, and there's one of those sinkers that doesn't sink. When you throw it about belt high and get it out over the plate, Viciedo, no doubt whatsoever, he knew he got every bit of that.
You no sooner Got it out of your mouth, and that sinker didn't sink.
It did not sink. It sunk late. It sunk in the seats, and a 4-3 win. A whale of a ball game.
All right. Is Addison ready?
I'm ready, Hawk.
All right, let's go down on the field and talk to our young guy who's got 3 saves and a win. I'll tell you, pretty good start, Addison.
I mean, the win is lucky. I can't do anything about that. That's all our offense. And Tank came through today, and I mean, it was a great ball game, and got the win.
Addison, even though this is just your first full year, so to speak, you got to really like this ball club, don't you?
It's awesome, man. We have a lot of fun. I mean, we can hit, we can pitch, we can run. So I mean, whatever people say, they can say. We're going to go out there and play every day. We're playing pretty well. You just got to keep it going.
And Addison, look, you're the man at the end, and you're the guy that they look to close down the ball game. However, without some of the heroics today of Lindstrom and Crane, you're not going to be in a position to do what you did. So it looks to me like the bullpen is put together very well, and you guys have a cohesive unit out there.
Exactly. We're very versatile. I mean, anybody could throw the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th inning. I mean, we have a bullpen full of closers pretty much, and then I mean, we're ready whenever we have to pitch. So keep on calling down and getting us in the game.
Well, you guys got some tremendous experience last year as young rookies coming down the stretch in a pennant race, and that really bodes well for you.
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, just getting the full year under your belt, it was awesome, good experience, and then being in the playoff push at the end there, it was awesome. And I mean, I gained a bunch of experience, and just sitting out there with the guys, talking to them. I mean, Lindstrom, Thornton, Jesse, they've all been around, and they know what to do. They're there for help, and I mean, anytime we need advice, they're there for it.
Well, once again, Addison, nice going, young man.
Thanks, guys.
Addison Reed, 3 saves and a win, and we'll be back.